Peace and greetings, world. This is your brother Mikey Fever, NYP Talk Show. We have our special guest, our good brother, Dr. Dyer, in the building. He will be talking about the science of the brain. We're going to get into many facets of this conversation, talking about discipline, joy, brain process, and everything else. The good doctor will be back. He just fell off for a second. He'll be coming back. Forgive us for that. Hope everyone's having a great time, had a good day. Wherever you are, Dr. Dyer, I'm going to let you back in the building. You fell off a second.
Yeah. We have that. I think the FBI doesn't want you people to know what I know. I don't know. They keep every time the show starts, they kick me off. So, brothers, peace. Sisters, peace and love.
Peace and love, man. How you doing, doctor?
Good. We've been talking about the brain for a while, and I know off air we had wanted to get into discipline and how it affects. Because so as a neuroscientist, as a neuropsychologist, as a scientist, I don't look at the emotional picture of things.
Yes.
I have been through things.
Mm-hmm.
I have a personal emotion on a personal side to things. So there is some type of relation to what people say, but scientifically, there is I wouldn't say there's a negative positive. So
Mm-hmm.
I think when people hear science, they're always looking to someone to affirm
Yes.
them or to deny them, right? They think that's what science does. And science doesn't confirm or deny.
It just explains.
It just explains.
Mm-hmm.
It just explains the origin of what it is.
Got you.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
We as scientists like to study the origin of things.
Mm-hmm.
And how it has moved through and where it is going and where it could go.
Yeah.
Right? And also what it has done. That's
Through
a
observation.
science.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
Observations. Yeah.
Right. So when people think, well, could science tell me this? Well, I don't know. I'm sure someone has looked into it, but maybe I haven't. Right. I study behavior also. I'm a behavior analysis for different people. I study behavior. Studying behavior uses my neuropsychology to understand how did the behavior develop,
Mm-hmm.
what is the effect on the person,
Yeah.
what is their how they using the effect, and what's the outcome.
Got you.
Right?
So,
Go ahead.
so you just basically studying the processes of things, input, output.
Right.
And got you.
And I do that with human behavior. I do that with human performance because one of my masters is in movement kinesiology. So when I worked with athletes, I looked at them like a science that they are. What it is that I see in front of me, what is the input? I probably don't get more input until later, but what I see, what their movement is like, what is how they're moving along,
Mm-hmm.
and then break it down. What could be better? What needs to be taken away completely? And what's causing a negative drift?
So the question is, with that, with respect to that, how does that go into discipline, to the science of discipline? How does the brain react to the science of discipline?
So I wanted to get it. So I want to almost. I think I want to explain that
Mm-hmm.
because I think the first thing we many Black Americans and many people who
Mm-hmm.
have been utilized by corporal punishment, getting their butt beat,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
we automatically look at discipline of something that was done to us.
That's true.
Okay. So if it was done to you, you never asked for it. No matter how many times you as a parent may have said, or maybe the parent has said, you brought this on yourself.
Yeah.
Right? Because I gave you a parameter.
Yeah. You crossed the line.
You crossed the line.
Exactly.
Right?
And they're gonna
And
punitive measures.
so now you brought this on yourself.
Exactly.
Okay. It as much as that statement never really solidifies the damage it does, but actually oversimplifies the horrific damage it has done.
That's true.
Because if we look at the wording in itself, I told you, you
Mm-hmm.
didn't do it, so now you caused yourself punishment.
Definitely.
And here is your punishment, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
So the person who doved out the punishment has no stake in it, technically, has no love in it, technically, has no hatred in it, technically, has nothing to do with you as a human person. Because
Mm.
all of this, what you're getting from me, you triggered.
Mm.
So
Mm.
you can't dislike what I'm doing. You have to dislike what you've done because you're the one who is beating yourself. It's just through my hands.
So it sounds like a form of condition. Sound like a form of conditioning.
Thank you.
Wow. That's what it is. It's a conditioning.
It's
Wow.
a condition. So, okay. Well, someone says, well, we got to have rules. There's a line. We'll stick with the parental ideology of corporal punishment.
Mm-hmm.
You crossed the line. You told you what you're supposed to do. Here's the beating. Okay. Since I'm beating you, well, you're beating yourself through my hands. That means has nothing. Like I said, this has nothing to do with love. This has
Mm-mm.
nothing to do with unlove or anything to do with you. You're determining your own conditions of how you are being treated by yourself. So when you lose a job,
Mm-hmm.
if you erase corporal punishment, if you lose a job for whatever reason, it's actually your fault, isn't it?
Of course.
According to that corporal punishment conditioning.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
So the brain holds on to those conditionings
Mm-hmm.
with the way they fire their neurons.
Mm-hmm.
And those conditionings now spike different parts of the brain, the pleasure center, right? We talked about that
Yeah.
center
The
part of
pleasure
the brain
system.
before.
It doesn't know
So
whether.
now,
Yeah.
right. So now it looks for those spikes of how it wants to be treated, good or bad.
Mm.
Because nothing triggers a stronger response than a negative response.
Whew. Say that again.
Because the negative response gets so much attention physically,
Mm-hmm.
right? Just let's look at it this way. A negative line that I gave you a parameter, you crossed it, gets more attention because now I noticed it. It was noticed. Now you're going to be beaten for it. So now I'm implementing physical action to the body, which spikes your dopamine, serotonin, and all those endorphin levels.
Mm-hmm.
It sends a signal to the brain going, I am. Remember, the brain doesn't have a picture.
Mm-mm.
It doesn't know that I came home late. This is why my mom was going to beat me or my father was going to beat me, right?
Yeah.
That it doesn't have that story. It just has the reaction to being beaten.
Okay. I see where you're taking this. Wow. no,
Well, jump in there, Mikey, because you're a
no,
smart guy.
no, because I see, because it's like, because you're saying the intention, the strong energy that it emits from those sensors.
Yes.
So it sounds like to a point where this can create another condition in a human being, as if a sadist, pleasure and
Yeah.
pain. I
Pleasure
forgot
and pain.
the
I
word for a
know what you,
person that.
but those things like so I lost my girlfriend, my friend, my boyfriend. I lost something,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or something pulled away from me and whatever. That's all my fault. So that's that negative thinking behavior you've created according to your corporal punishment.
Mm.
So someone's giving you corporate punishment and it is just instilling negative thought behavior outcomes.
Got you. But how about on the positive side? Because you got people,
Okay,
not to
let's go. Let's
not
go
to,
with a positive side.
not positive. It's still corporal punishment, but they found
Well, let,
pleasure in it.
let's go with a positive side to where the greater I feel of not being beaten because I'm afraid of it,
Yeah.
I stay inside my parameters.
Mm-hmm.
So that means my thought process can never go outside the parameters.
So you're a prisoner.
Right? Because if I go outside my parameters, I could be beaten. I could. Now, if something reveres itself as something of a better outcome, it has to be better than. It's almost like someone said, "I told you never to go over there, but you found a pot of gold." Right?
Mm-hmm.
So you come back home and like, boy, where you been? I told you I went over here, but I told you never go over there. How long does it have to come out of your mouth before you say, but I found a pot of gold?
The conditioning, yeah, you gotta.
Right, because I'm scared I'm gonna get beaten, but let's hopefully this what I found
Oh,
will
yeah.
over supersede that I'm about ready to get beat.
So, are you talking about conditioning uh, based on negative past experiences?
No, just being hit.
Talking about, like, as far as with the whole discipline, the concept of discipline,
So the cost of
negative.
discipline, yeah. So people look at discipline like when we first start out. So people look at discipline as the first thing we take is a parental discipline. Like probably many of us, we've been hit or
Mhm.
spanked or belt whooped,
Punched.
what punched, punched. Right? I mean, knocked out.
Yeah, me. Yeah, my pops used to right hook me. All jokes aside, yeah, he used to. I guess just get right hooks. Yeah.
Yeah. The terminology of the person saying, well, you crossed a line, the
Mhm.
line I set up for you, you crossed it. So this action you caused.
Mm-hmm.
In that causation, I have no personal measure in it. You crossed the line. So now you're going to be beaten by my hand, but you crossed the line. So this pain, you chose it.
Yep.
So it's what I was telling my kids, so and everyone else in the global world, corporal punishments never worked. Never works at all. And so Mikey had asked, what happens when there's people that have positive outcomes in their lives when they have been beaten?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they had still in their lives, I am positive they were hesitant of leaving parameters unless you're getting older. You say, well, I can stretch out my little thing. It doesn't happen as much as at 8, but I bet you it happens a little bit more at 16. I can stretch my little something a little bit. Oh, I moved out. I'm 26, right? So there's still terminology as I come home, maybe for a dinner or so, and I said, "What you been up to, son?" Well, I've been doing this. I don't know about that. So now I get that disapproval by my parents. I don't know if I want to continue the conversation.
Got you. Yeah.
Right? Because with that disapproval, he may not hit me, but he might.
Mentally. Yeah,
Right.
mentally he got you. Yeah, on another level.
He might. I don't know. Get a few pops in him. Who knows? He might hit me, So I may not say too much. So look how stagnant you have to live your life and start segregating how you're living between who you're living. So you start to de-evolve because your life was based off a conditioning level in certain spaces. This is also why Black athletes don't do well in leadership positions, depending on how they're raised. They could do something very well if you tell them what to do. Go left, go right, jump up, crawl under, sit. They could do that really fast. They could pick it up really quickly. But if you ask the Black athlete, try to figure out how to do a couple of those things, last about 10 seconds out there, then go sit. They will be stuck.
Got you.
Because the conditioning you live in a corporal punishment household, you take directions. You cannot think on your own. This is also why the kids that have their crazy spans in the stores are less melanin than we are. And you're like, man, that's such a bad kid. But he's allowed to assert his feelings. They just happen to be in a negative space outdoors. But I learned how to do that with my kids. If you're going to flop down in the middle of a grocery store, I just make sure that you have your space. I'm not going to bother you. You're not going to hurt yourself. You're not going to hurt others. And you're not going to hurt materials. Otherwise, rock on.
I agree with you, Mr. Dr. Dyer. That what you said is so profound because, growing up in a household, there were times my mother would have guests over, and they used to ask the questions like, "I don't hear your children," and my father said, "You will never hear them. Children should be seen, not heard."
Right.
And that
Oh
was
my God. This terminology used forever. Still used today.
Yeah. And I remember that he didn't we could play, but he didn't like if we got too rambunctious,
right?
He just come out, give a look, or just stomp his feet one time, and the house is silent again. Because he didn't approve of that. Like he didn't like noise. Which that was a conditioning for me growing up. I had to break out of that shell, to be vocal.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's so true.
Even in yourself, you could see how at one time there was an opposed navigation you had to do. And you have to ask yourself, am I going to be what I need to be, want to be for me, or I'm going to stay in the condition I was wrought with?
Yes.
Right? Exactly. Because the action of the origin of discipline actually comes from the Latin word meaning pupil and student.
Mm-hmm. Disciple.
Right?
Yeah, discipline,
Right.
disciple. Yeah.
Disciple. Right?
Mhm.
But when it changed to being corporal, meaning a physical punishment, because I've done some training that was not considered punishment, it was considered training.
Mm-hmm.
You take it differently mentally. Sitting in a certain martial arts stance 4 hours, crying and falling to my knees and hearing the tap of the bamboo stick, getting back up. That was discipline,
Right.
right? Kneeling on rice
Damn.
4 hours.
I've been through that. Oh my god. The cheese grater.
Right? It's discipline. Right? You know, that thing of what do you think pain is? You know, it's not to make you immune to pain. It is not to make you forget pain, but which pain processing are you processing? Is the pain processor because you want to be doing something else, period? Or is this pain process something you just have to go through so you could break out to being something you are building for yourself? Totally different. That's why in corporal punishment, it falls back into there are ways to teach the slave how to be a slave, right? Willie Lynch taught us that. The beatings of certain types of people and the non-beatings, right? Giving them so much leeway that why would they not want to leave, right? You can go have your babies for the next 5 years. We'll let you live your life. And I'm missing a cup of coffee. I'm taking those kids and those kids. You know what I mean? So there's different ways of manipulation of the brain and the body for punishment. And beating right off the bat, you can only do it to a small collect few. That's why homeowners or households can still do it. Because if you had a family of 10 and you're beating all your kids, that won't last too long.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you now.
Yeah.
Don't try it.
That's crazy. Man.
Don't try it.
So we're on rewards and punishment.
Yeah.
Correct? Yes. So now punishment when you're punished, you know, I would just take out beating, just like reprimanded, and you're constantly reprimanded. What part of the brain does that affect?
Of the reprimand with the punishment?
Yeah.
Who, what, where, why? Who, what, where, why? Who is doing it? What is the reason for it being done? Where is this being done? Right? So who, what, where, how, and how is it being done?
And based on those, that would determine exactly what part of the brain it affects. Is that what you're saying?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's say if I'm being punished by, let's say, my dad, for instance.
Okay, so now I'll tell you right now where it affects. It affects your heart and your liver. That's in the organ issue. It affects the travel of the vagus nerve, and it attacks straight into the frontal lobe, where you do your critical thinking, part of your critical thinking.
Okay, So it attacks the heart, which would affect the in traditional Chinese medicine, like the spirit, the shin, right? And then the liver dealing with anger, right? And
Right.
then the vagus nerve dealing with the stomach.
Yeah. Actually, it's the longest nerve in the body, so it actually you could feel it throughout the whole body.
Mhm.
So if your pops is hitting you, which is um, the reason why it also affects your heart, it affects the way you have a difficult time connecting with love,
Mm.
right?
Now,
You so you very
Limited,
limited
limited.
limited
Yeah.
of
it's all right.
trust.
It's okay. It's all right. You're good.
It's 8 o'clock.
No, but you're limited on trust. So you're limited on trust. That means if you're limited on trust, your stress hormones rise, or they are higher than normal
Mhm.
on average. So that means your cortisol levels up. That means hypertension, blood pressure. So this is how it affects, if once it affects the heart directly, just by a parental. Many neuropsychologists and people who do behavior science and things like that, you know, there's a thing called the, the that builds a psycho killer. It's the triad. Is it your mother? Have you been, your mother abused you or your parent abused you? Mostly mothers. Have you killed, being harmful to animals? Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. And oh yeah, bedwetting as a young person.
Mm.
Yeah. If they're young, but if they're older in their 20s, they're very shy. So they don't feel comfortable around other people at all. So that shyness is part of that triad.
Wow,
Mm.
that's deep, man.
Can you say that one more time?
That's crazy.
Yeah. So it's the triad for behavior. When you have a parental punishment, negatively, it affects your heart, your liver, your vagus nerve, and your prefrontal cortex.
Mm.
With that, it can produce at a young age, very young, under the age of 8 and 9, you have the triad that to let you know if you're developing a psychopath. So you have your first kill, harmful to animals, urinating in bed, and what's that third one again? Urinating
All
in
right,
bed.
that's good. I didn't have the urinating in bread. You run. I didn't
I,
have the
I
the
sure did.
the animal thing. Yeah, I was. That's not.
Yeah, I had both. I had both.
Oh, oh yeah, and oh yeah, and parental harsh disobedience. So parental harsh disobedience, urination, and harm from animals. As you get older, past in the teen years, you'll still have harmful interactions with someone you considered a leader in your eyes, someone who was of guidance. and
Damn it.
then and then the next one would be shy. The person would just be quite shy, and then the other person will still be harming small things without other people noticing it, or at least dreaming about it. So they're producing it. It's just a matter of time.
Mm.
Wow.
Yeah,
Damn,
and
man.
that's negative that's corporate punishment. Now, Mikey asked me, what happens if there's a reward to it, like
Yeah.
someone is successful, someone blah 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 billionaire says, man, my mama used to beat me all the time. And I'm so thankful for it because I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for that. Basically, it's like having an eating disorder because you're afraid of being fat. Just because you were fat when you were a little kid and now you will never be fat again because you have an eating disorder, that doesn't make the eating disorder good.
Right.
Your correlation between why you're successful now or how you got through things now because of you got your butt whipped doesn't hold water. You couldn't make it make sense scientifically. Wow. Emotionally, of course, all your reasons is going to be clear and clarified, and it'll make definite sense to you. But as you write it down for me, scientifically, will never make sense. It will never correlate. I'm just telling you. That's why I said in the beginning, Mikey, right? This science has nothing to do on emotions or what I personally think of this. It is just what it is chemically and what it triggers physically. That's just what it does.
Yeah. Gotcha.
If you are a brain surgeon or a teacher because your mother kept you in at a certain time, didn't let you do this, made you hit the books hard and all that other stuff, and this is why you believe you're successful, you've missed so much that you personally had to do, which is why their actions control you, which means it was negative. That means someone has programmed you, and you're not the doctor, they are. You're not successful, they are. You're not the slave master, they are. Boy, that boy picked some good cotton. Well, I trained him that way because when he was small, I made sure I cared for him. I made sure I beat him right. This way now, look how much he's yielding.
Got you. So basically, it wasn't cultivated. It was enforced, basically.
It was enforced. Cultivation takes time. It takes an input from the other. It takes the nose. I don't like that. Not, you're going to do what I say, but I know you don't like that when you have the time. Of course, a lot of this is time management. You may not like this, but can you do this for me? And then we'll talk about what it is that you feel you don't like and explain that reason to me. Because where did you, depending on the age, where did you get the term you don't like this? So they must have compared it to what? Because not liking something is straight comparison. If you don't know what the person's comparing it to, how does not liking something make sense to you? If you're just going to say, I just don't like it because I don't like it. To not be so offensive to people right now, you're being controlled by something other than you. And we've talked about that before. When you want to rethink, reprogram, understand how you are moving in your life, then you will have an input and you will know what you know. Just saying, it's just because I just don't. Well, can you explain why? Well, now I get defensive. I don't have to explain to you. This is just who I am. What are you? All of a sudden, now I attack you somehow. Verbal attack, right? And this is what I do. And I walk off. And you're like, wow, I was just trying to understand. Because you didn't explain anything. I know more about my mama out of your mouth than you explaining why you do what you do. You told me all about my mama.
Now we spoke a lot about punishment. Now, what about rewards? How's that work?
So that's what I was telling you about. There is no reward for you. There is no reward because the person who trained you gets the reward, not you.
Okay. Well, what about when someone has an incentive to win a trophy, has an incentive to win a lottery? You know,
Who
just
gives? So who designated the incentive? The person that designated the incentive becomes the hierarchy in what you're really trying to please.
I get it. So it's an outside stimulant, basically, most of the time.
It's an out. It's like I want to lose weight. I want to look good on the beach, so I put up a picture. That's an incentive, right, Ron?
yeah,
Well, it's a false incentive, isn't it, Ron?
yeah.
Okay, you answered your own question. So who gave me my incentive? Is it someone must have said something to me, brought something up that triggered a negative response in me that I don't want to look like what I thought was good until they said something. It triggered something that I got 3 months before I take my shirt off. Because if it was a priority, I wouldn't have to get ready. I will be ready.
Right.
Got you, man.
So rewards and punishment is an illusion.
Yes. Boy, my boys are learning.
Mhm. Yeah, man, because it's very. These are things that conversations we
Yeah,
used to be having. This is deep because breaking out of the matrix.
that's exactly right. And when you become self-aware, that next stage that I've been writing about in recent days, several days, that next stage is suffering to grace. You're going to have to break a lot of things down that's going to really upset you in how you are living your life, and you're going to be like, I think I want to keep that. I think I want it, but your life was made up in a house of cards, or it,
Mm. Yeah, got that
That's
problem.
what I'm going through right now. Me personally, no disrespect to anyone. Hopefully, you guys, listeners, can understand what I'm about to say and don't take offense to it. Everything that I've learned about being so called black, I am starting to get away from it because it's no longer useful in the time that we're in and where we're going to in the future. We are behind as a people, and you can do the research yourself statistically and find out the statistics on it. And there are many reasons why, because of the habits that we've grown accustomed to over years and years and years, and we are stagnant. So I say, okay, we are stagnant. Why? And I figured it out. And there's so many reasons why. And so I figured out the reason. So now I'm moving far and farther and further away from it. And I'm saying, should I do that? Because if I do that, then I won't be considered a part of the tribe anymore.
Yeah, they'll call you a sellout. You see, they call us
well,
agents last show.
Yeah.
but Brian, I had been through that many years ago. I know exactly where you may be now. I had already went through that because I, I've been in so many white rooms because of my skill, ability, dedication, honor, that I was considered to be a sellout because what are you doing there? Well, I'm learning. I don't know. I mean, because Why do you want to learn all that?
Yeah, that's a stigma we keep with us.
That's crazy
Unfortunately,
talk. Like, why would you
yeah.
learn all of that? I can't even. It blows my mind to think about what's all that mean. Because if I could learn all that, to be honest, I would learn all of that and more. I would, because I'm a soaker. I dig and I soak. I dig, I lay in it, I roll around the information and dirt. I soak, I break it apart. Then I like, okay, wow. And I needle it apart because that's what I do. Because then then it's not just information to me; it's an understanding. And once it becomes an understanding, it becomes a tool. With the tool, I can illuminate anything I want to through the tool.
You know who said it? Another author who said the same thing that Ron said. He articulated it differently, and like you said, Dr. Dyer, was Thomas Sowell. I don't know if you're familiar with him.
Yes.
They consider him to be a sellout. And it's something I don't know where our people get this. Like, if you speak with proper vernacular and grammar,
You're talking
it's
white.
not white. What is talking white then?
We give the opposite so much power that if we're giving it, let's look at the opposite reaction. Then what are we taking from it?
Making yourself inferior.
You are. One of the things that we can only do as a community is that we have to stop our own prejudices against ourselves. We are probably more prejudiced against our own culture, our own people.
Drop a bomb on that. I'm sorry, Ron. No, it's true because we don't. We have even stupid jokes. We have colorist jokes amongst ourselves. Like, damn, that brother darker, this and that. And I'm like, that's crazy. Light skin versus dark skin.
I mean, just like when George Fraser was on with us, right? We break down our own families.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not talking about families separating and going through their transformations into other things and morphing into other things. I'm not talking about that because people don't get on whatever.
Yeah.
But we still don't have what you go. I can not be married to you and still have a community with you.
That's a problem.
And if that's a problem, then what in the hell did I miss in the original when I got a hold of you? Right? You know what I mean? Like, we're not talking about just about personal and connection and all that stuff. But after we are not together, physically connection, all this other stuff,
still got a family.
We still don't have a community together. Like, if you come into the area, I look at you sideways, like, what is she doing here? What is he doing here? That's crazy.
Because we occupy our minds with idle things, idle minds. And I think that's a problem. Yeah, delusion. A lot of idle things. Like, we don't talk about great things. If you look at most families, and I hate to say this, especially families that's predominantly women, they all gossip about each other. Why? I don't know. It's the weirdest thing. You understand? And the men are taking the back seat where they can't have a voice. If they apply some logic, they look at it as a weirdo. Like, you should be angry with me. And I seen that with the women in my family. I'm like, this all they do is gossip about each other.
Man, listen, that's it's not only so-called black people that do that.
No, I know that, bro.
Man, I'm at the job, and oh man, I'm like,
yep. Oh my God, yes.
It's going to hit you from all sides. So let's go back with the discipline. Let's go back with how it affects us. Because you answered it all. It creates an illusion if we don't understand what is happening. It's what is that, the red pill or the blue pill?
I think it's the red pill, right?
I think it's the red pill. You want to stay in the matrix.
Wait, the red, I think it's the blue pill is not staying in the matrix.
What's the thing? One of those.
Okay.
But it's the pill that keeps you in the matrix because it's easier. Because so here's the crazy thing. It's not crazy. It's just science. 95% of your brain, 95% of the mind is used subconsciously. 95%. That means, it's 95%. Let me put it in. It's 9 out of 10. You're doing things habitual.
Mm-hmm.
9 out of 10 things you do is habitual, or it's trained into you.
Mm-hmm.
Now the question is who trained it? Why did they train it? Did I have any input? Am I still just following the script? So if you were conditioned with punishment and reward, when did you step out of that? If you don't know that you did, then you haven't. That's all I'm saying. If you don't know that you did, because you would know when you did, you will know. It's like a heroin addict trying to get clean on their own. You will know when you did. Because the withdrawals and the pain that comes through it is staggering. The crying, the meltdown.
I know
I've been through it.
Right now, like where I'm like kind of like shedding an old mind state or state of mind. I'm shedding an old state of mind. I'm finding that it could be me, but I'm finding that I don't relate to a lot of people anymore.
Outgrowing, brother.
That's all. You're just
Self-realization.
outgrowing him. Yeah. My oldest son, been through that, started that 3 years ago. He thought it was something wrong with him.
Yeah.
Because the people stop calling him. So it was like, well, why haven't, some of his friends, some of his, like, not just like close friends, but some of, they stopped calling and whatever. And he had asked me, he goes, they just stopped calling me. I says, because there's movement. You got to decide, is it your movement or their movement? That's what I so you got to decide, is it their movement or your movement? Because that's all it is movement. And he came back to me 7 months later. He said it was his movement, because I knew it was his, but I couldn't give him the answer. But because we had been studying a lot more other things together. He's been asking me a lot more other questions and things like that. So I knew it was his movement. But and that's what it was. He was shedding them.
Right. Now, here's something difficult for me. It is difficult, honestly, since we Mike has been, I would say, more transparent on this segment than I have, right? So I'm gonna be a little more.
I think I'm crazy sometimes, but it's all right.
Because you give a lot of information on these.
You know why? Can none of these fools use anything against me?
Nope.
Once you put it out there, what you gonna say? What you gonna do?
Because here's the thing, and that's why I'm so transparent with my life. And if you ask me, I'll tell you. Because, and I've written in my books, and I put things in the middle of my books that I've written it just about the things I've been through, right? So I'm very transparent. And the only reason why I'm transparent, because the only person who is awakening can see the correlation.
Okay. Yeah.
Everyone else, they'll hear the words of, it's just words to them. They don't. It's like, we do these podcasts really to teach people. Really, I love it. I love it because
me too, man.
I really do. It's here to teach people, hear people to be able to be like, I heard it, I recorded it all week long, and I watched it, and I'm still fucked up. I still don't get it, right? Let me ask.
Mm-hmm.
Do we get many questions about last week's show?
Oh yeah. Well, we got a lot of emails.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
I sent you the emails.
that's all this is. It's about learning.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
all it is.
Right.
Hear
Now,
what you sharing, Ron? Let me hear.
now, here's my thing, right? I grew up in like of course Harlem and all of that and being like, you know, I grew up like, you know, rumbling as a kid and then going into a dojo and then doing, you know, coming up with Harlem Go Jew. Like I learned like, you know, to be tough and stuff like that. And my reaction to certain things, it just doesn't warrant my reaction, you know, like to certain situations. Now that I'm older though, I instead of me reacting out loud, it's still in my mind and my heart. Like so when I'm having when let's say if I'm having a discussion with someone and we're just having a difference of opinion, you know, I'm taking it like, is this person disrespecting me right now? How should I respond? You know, should I spaz out on this person? Should I curse them out? Should I ask them like, what you mean by that? What you want to do? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how to. I know how to remain diplomatic, but I'm still like in my mind, the way that I'm reading it, I'm like, is this person trying to disrespect me? What should I do at this point? Should I lash out? Should I snap on this person? Like now I have to figure out how to respond to uh rebuttals and disagreements
So
and not take it like it could be possibly a form of disrespect.
my suggestion is you. Did I? Oh, I told this to someone yesterday. Be more of a detective. And what I mean by it is when that feeling comes over of what is this person doing with what they just said to me, ask yourself the follow up, what is this person trying to receive from me?
Mm-hmm.
Now, they obviously know they could get it from you because they said what they said.
Mm-hmm.
But what is it that they're trying to receive from you?
A reaction.
But why? Okay, we know it's a reaction,
Mm-hmm.
but why a particular reaction? Remember, it's a murder because there's a dead body.
Mm-hmm.
Being a detective is figuring out not why is there a dead body, but how.
Mm-hmm.
Where did it start from? This person just didn't walk out of their bedroom and shoot someone and kept walking. Like there's a reason to all
The
this
motive.
happening.
Yeah.
There's a motive.
Mm-hmm.
And this person, the only person that knows the motive
That
is,
person.
is that person. So be the detective and figure out these clues. And that's where I guess sometimes when I say the walking, people say the walking away, pausing on a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
It's more, I believe it's more for detective work than it is for calming down a response. Because my response, even in a different state, could be still the wrong response.
Exactly. Depending. Yeah.
So once I know the response, maybe I can ask a follow-up. Maybe I can ask it directly, depending on how close this person is. What type of response are you looking for me, Ron?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Right?
just laugh in your head too. What I usually do in my head, I just laugh at them in my head, say a joke like, man, you know what? He's looking for his mother, and I just say that in my head.
Right.
And
But
then after that-
I'm so curious. I'm like, what type of response you looking for me?
Mhm.
And they're like, they often say, what do you mean?
Mhm.
And now I'm confused. And I say, you said something. I didn't say you said this. You said something. I heard you. Being unsure, I ask you, what type of response are you looking for? That's why I believe people don't know in conscious states what they're saying, because it's 95% subconscious. And that
Yo,
It's true.
yeah. So you can't really fault them, really,
because right, because someone conditioned them.
Yeah.
And it was probably from the ass whoopings they got when they was
or getting bullied, because cats used to get bullied,
Yeah.
and then they get older, and then they got that
They
issue.
get tough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything's a threat to them. They like, in a sense,
everything's a
they just
threat.
they're looking for issues. Like, they could see you they could consider you to be very docile because you're calm.
Yeah.
And that's the most dangerous person that's walking around.
That's why people was so easy to give up their man card and be at those puffy things. They were so easy to be pimped out because they didn't mind being feminine in that situation.
In a dominant situation.
But and here's how I know that. There's a difference between having types of parties that assimilate the same way. They're not these parties that Puffy was having, or what's the other guy, the 16-year-old, with the 16-year-old girls.
R. Kelly.
R. Kelly.
R. Kelly.
Yep.
Those are different. You can have multiple adult parties that you don't have to give up your man card. They were having parties so you can give up your man card because they wanted to bend you over for the next deal. The sex party was about programming you to, I can get you to do what I want you to do when I ask you to do it. That's what that was. So a lot of people get those twisted up and like, oh, it's those wild parties. Those parties had nothing to do with it. They were having parties of taking people's manhoods and deploralizing women. But it was mostly black men, if you know who's at the parties.
Right. Indeed. On that note, today was about rewards and punishment, centers of the brain. Mike, your screen just went out on us. Probably your internet connection, but it ended right on the right at the right time. Thank you for coming out, brother, Dr. Paul Dyer. Really appreciate you. Another great episode. I hope the listeners got something from this. Keep sending the emails. I'll keep sending the emails to Dr. Paul Dyer, and we are out of here. Peace.